Hey, it's Terrie Carr, and thanks for checking out my web series. I bring in the artists, we chat, new artist classics, and everyone in between. In this episode, I welcome Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach, who discusses evolution, empowerment, purposeful music, and writing out the crazy. Let's go. So I am with Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach. We were just kind of talking before we got going about what an amazing time in music it is. And I think it's an amazing time for you guys. Here's what I'm thinking when I think of Papa Roach now. All these years later, 25 years since Infest, but 30 years for P. Roach. Evolution and empowerment, I think, for you guys as a band. I think you guys now are doing kind of whatever you want. How good does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, this is essentially I'm living the dream, and we are doing what we want to do, and it's exciting. We just took out Rise Against on tour, a band that I love, I've admired for years. Also, Under Oath, we had one of the best tours of our career, and this is 25 years into my professional career, and it just feels. It's just when I left the tour, I was just like, God, I don't want it to be over, but I know that I got more coming up. So.
Yeah. We have two dates coming, not necessarily in New Jersey, but not really that far from us. We got the Allentown date in September and the Jones Beach date, which I think is going to be awesome. And our listeners, they'll take a mini road trip and go out to these shows. So guys, get your tickets. Phenomenal. And you guys, were you guys label mates with Rise Against back in the day? Yeah.
The same guy who gave us a record deal, his name was Ron Handler. He worked for DreamWorks Records. He also signed
DreamWorks. Yes.
Yeah. And so it's pretty cool because actually I'm wearing it right now. The Forum, we played the Forum in Los Angeles, and our A&R that had originally signed us, Tim from Rise Against, found him, got a hold of him because I hadn't talked to him in years, invited him out to the show.
Oh,
and it was cool. It was really cool to spend that moment. And I told him, man, I was like, Ron, you changed my life. Like, I just want to say thank you, man. You put your reputation out there on the line and signed us and gave us a shot. And here I am, 25 years later, living this dream. And it was just a really cool moment. And so thank you, Tim from Rise Against, putting that together. That was
Tim's such a solid guy too. He's one of those like people that you just feel like a better person for talking to him and knowing him. Yeah. I did stuff with him at a different radio station I worked at before I came back to my station now. And he's just he's just inherently a really good person. And when you find those really good people in life, you want to keep them close and keep them definitely in your structure there. And what I love too is, the last time I think I got to see you, maybe it was with Shinedown, I guess. Oh, and yeah. I think the beauty with P. Roach was at the big Prudential Center, the big, ginormal arena. 1 minute you can hear a pin drop, and the next minute the roof is being raised off of the arena. Yeah. And not every band has the ability to do that. That's got to be a really good feeling to have them with you here and then with you there. And that crowd, I was watching side stage because I was going to do a little, radio stage announcement in between the two bands. And I couldn't believe you were like out in the crowd, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And literally minutes earlier, you could hear a pin drop. That's a pretty powerful feeling, my friend.
I love the connection we have with our audience and taking them on this journey and this ride through the music that we've created throughout the years and our story and the stories of our fans, because we know that, our music touches people in a deep and meaningful way. And so when there is that intimate moment of introspection and reflection in the show, you can hear a pin drop. And, I love taking it to that, to that point. And then just like you said, just raising the roof off that joint.
Crazy. And you've called some of those songs, I've heard you call them purpose-driven songs.
Oh, yeah.
Like Leave a Light On. And not just you being very open, but the fans telling you all of the experiences. This song saved my life. That song saved my life. Last Resort saved my life. And Lifelines saved my life. And Scars saved my life. And, there's so many of those songs that are purpose-driven, whether or not they're the raw songs or whether they're, Leave the Light On. And so what is that like for you, being somebody who's kind of carried that torch for people, for the audience?
Yeah, I think it's important. You know, I think it's a reflection of the walk I've had with my life and my ups and downs, and just my brutal honesty with it, and just being real about my life and finding that people connect with that authenticity and what we do. And it's it's gnarly because now I look back at like this story that I've written through all these songs, and I'm like, man, I look at listen to some of the old songs. I'm like, dude, you weren't all right. Like I was going through some of my old notebooks and like just reading, just sometimes I just put my pen to the paper and just write out. I would call it writing out the crazy, and there was crazy in there, and I'm glad I made it out the other side with the perspective that I have now. I've gained a lot of tools and skills and knowledge about self-awareness and to own my issues and learn and grow and not drag everybody through the thick of my highs and lows of my life. And
But that's
you know
so empowering. How empowering has that been for you? Because I feel like now you're definitely, the evolution was what I was
oh
talking
yeah,
about. You're a different, you're kind of a different artist in that way, because I think that empowerment for you um, has turned you into who you are today. I mean, and the band is more relevant today than you
sure,
were 25 years ago.
yeah.
That's another thing that's not an easy thing to
Mm.
do or say. That's gotta feel amazing.
Yeah, I've transformed my life in so many ways and put that into the music. And you know I I just I mean, as you explain it to me and I'm listening to you, I'm taken back because wow, it is a trip that we are as impactful as we are now. And I think speaking about mental health and using that as a I guess using our music as a voice for that in culture is important. And I feel like that's really like a huge bond that we have with our fans and culture. And I think my ability of just being honest and vulnerable has opened that space for us. And it's dope because now it's like we're working with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and raising money with them. And it's like this story that we've been telling about mental health and the highs and the lows and the struggles of it. Now I got a partner in the real world that's actually boots on the ground, putting the work in with the people, helping people, and that's a beautiful thing to be
I
part
love
of.
that. I love that organization. I'm so glad you brought them up because I'm actually going to say hi to Liz. Liz is our New Jersey person here. And I'm an ambassador. This will be my 6th year being involved with AFSP. So I'm doing my walk. You guys have been great too, because I've always gotten things from different bands for people who want to come out to our walks. And I believe that you guys were in with me one year. Shinedown's been great. Blackstone Cherry. I've had all of our bands, come join my team. We'll give you the opportunity to pick up this. So yeah, AFSP is such an incredible and impactful organization, and they do so much. It's not necessarily just about the walks. It's talking to young children. It's talking to senior citizens, people who feel alone. There are all these great groups that people can get involved with, and the work they do never stops. Every year, I'm on their website and I'm like, wow, they're doing this now. You want to talk about evolution? That is a group that has evolved so incredibly amazingly well. And so I'm so happy that you brought them up, because I'm definitely gonna give them a plug and send them this interview.
So cool that you're involved. That's good to know. And in the future, let's collaborate on some stuff. How can we get involved?
I'd love to.
I This is like a work that I will continue for the rest of my career. I feel like this kind of space and being able to like go through my own transformation and share my experience and my strength and my hope help somebody else, because there's been people in my life that have been like, yo, Cove, like that have picked me up when I was down. And so paying it forward is important. And so, yeah, being part of that cause and that movement is it's so near and dear to my heart. And, I've lost people to suicide and lost friends and family members
Same.
to it,
Yep. Yeah.
and it's,
And it's simple. It's so simple to get involved. It's not necessarily something that I tell people. It doesn't take a whole ton of your time. Even if you just go to the website, can't walk
Yep.
with you, can donate a little
Yep.
buckage here and there. It's a very, very simple thing to get involved with, and you feel so good after you do it. So let's talk about the music movement, because I've been hearing a lot of people say, "Oh, there's resurgence in new metal," and but I don't even see it as new metal. I see it as like kind of the late 90s post 2000. You look at somebody on a Creed cruise, say,
Yep.
which was like the fastest selling cruise other than like the Hallmark cruises. And these are not people coming back to music. This is a new generation of fans that are discovering this music. So, what is it like for you to be a part of that movement? Because Papa
Oh,
Roach certainly is.
that was the goal all along, to like, once we became successful, we're like, all right, now we understand like the arc of bands' careers. And like, if you can stick around for 20 plus years, there's this second wave that happens
Yes,
all the
yes.
time. And it's generational. I think that we have our fans that have been down with us since 2000, and then we have this new generation of fans. Our largest demographic, growing demographic of our fan base, because we study these things,
Yeah.
is 18 to 25. And I'm like, dude, that's so dope that more and more and more of those people are getting into our music now and going to rock concerts. And, we're seeing our message boards pop up, and they're like, oh my God, I never knew what I was missing. Like, I'm so stoked I came to a rock show. And that's like, let's go. Now we got some new fans. It's like, I watched the Red Hot Chili Peppers have this moment back in like 2000 and 2005, when they had that like second wave when they dropped Californication. And I was watching that, and I was a fan, and just seeing this whole new generation of fans latch onto what they were doing. And I was like, that's what I want. That's what I want to do. And now we're experiencing that. And it's so cool because so many of our peers, the Deftones, Korn, Limp Bizkit, Creed.
Selling out everywhere. Selling
Yes.
it. Deftones had a Madison Square Garden show
Yeah.
sold out, and Prudential Center show, which is literally miles down the road in New Jersey, sold out. Like, we are seeing these bands playing
Yeah.
the big Madison Square Garden venues and selling them out. And it is just an incredible moment. I was just at the Disturbed show, and to see no
Yeah.
empty seats and all the kids in front of me singing every song and singing, like, it was just mind blowing, being in there for Seven Dust at 6:30 on a
It's packed.
Friday in New York City, and it's packed. And
Yep.
you're going, oh, poor Seven Dust. They're going on at 6:30. I hope people are there. I
Feeling it.
walked in. I was like, yes, everybody's here. Seven Dust has arrived. That is the feeling of the resurgence of rock. So it's not necessarily just new metal. It's rock and roll as a whole, and that whole, era plus of music, which I just love, love, love. I didn't get to talk to you too when Even If It Kills Me dropped. So first of all, congratulations on another amazing tune. We're talking, kind of after the single cycle. And not only amazing tune, the video. I love that bands are making vids now. You were
Oh,
so good in the video. You were like a leading man.
oh yeah, I was going like, all right, rock and roll, John Wick, here we go.
Yes.
Minus the guns. But yeah, what a cool experience to shoot that video. We teamed up with our boy Jesse Davey, who did our video for Hollywood Horror back in the day, and Burn, and we had reconnected with him. And I had this big vision and this big idea, and I was just like, can we achieve this? Can you make this happen? And he's like, oh, I'll make it even better. And he took that thing to the next level. And just there's a lot of with this, the representation, what the crows mean in the video was right when I first had gotten sober back in well, this was the last time I finally put the bottle down. I was recording a record in Sacramento, and every day I would step outside the studio, and around 4 or 5 o'clock, there would be like 150, 200 crows that would show up at my studio and just
Wow.
every day. And I was just like, I would go out there, and I'm like, because a couple times I just walked out and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And then more, I kept going back every day and just, oh, the crows are back. The crows are back. And I was trying to figure out what this meant to me. And it was, and as I stayed sober through like about 3 months, it was like less and less crows were showing up, and there was less and less crows. And it just, to me, was like kind of a representation of this transformation that I was going through, that it was like, that was like this like demon over me in a way,
Wow.
showing up in my life. And as I cleaned the wreckage of my life up and got my head right and stayed off the bottle and cleaned my life up, it dissipated. And so that's why we got that big crow monster in the
Wow.
video. And so there's levels. I always like taking and moments in my life and like, how do I make it artful and feel cinematic? And so we spent a ton of money on the video, and it was just such a great experience. And so we're actually going in to shoot another video here in the
Ooh.
next couple of weeks with Jesse Davy again for another song. And we got a surprise for the fans, because it's on the caliber of Even If It Kills Me.
Ooh, I'm so excited. I'm
Yeah, so
so excited. Yeah.
there's some threads that bond the videos together too. So it's like we're getting really creative with it, and we're spending tons of money. So it
I
better be
think it's
good.
worth it. I love when I get to see these great videos from bands, especially when the visual, that's a very visual cinematic type of song. And I think that the video fits it perfectly. So it's storytelling at its finest, because now, unfortunately, with everybody just sitting there scrolling all day long, storytelling has to be taken to another level now.
Absolutely.
It can't just be in the song. So you guys nailed it. Amazing video. Love, love, love it. And I have to ask you before I let you go. Have you seen Uncle Jesse? Do you know what I'm talking about? All right. So do you follow the Drumeo? Um,
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yes, Uncle Jesse. Bam. That was so
dude,
cool.
he
That was
was so
right.
good. And I love the
Yes.
fact, for those of you who are like, what is she talking about? Let me tell you.
Yes.
So John Stamos is on the Drumeo channel. And I don't play drums, but I love I'm like obsessed with Drumeo. I
Drumeo,
watch all of the,
awesome. Same.
all the videos and documentaries, the Phil Collins one. I was crying my eyes out. So John Stamos is a better drummer than people give him credit for. Like, he's played with BB King and he's played with the Beach Boys. He's a really solid drummer. So he goes on this kind of thing where, like, we're going to surprise you with a song and we want you to drum. And the song is Last Resort. And he's not that familiar with the song, but he's like, give me a second and let me. And he kind of starts like banging through the song and getting a little bit of kick and the crash and everything down. So did you guys see that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. As soon as it popped off, my brother sent. He's like, "Dude, did you see this?" And I was like, "What? This
What
is
is
so
this?
sick." He did a great job,
He did.
honestly. And he's a great drummer, solid. He's got a good pocket, deep pocket, and just skills. And he's handsome too, so that's cool. And it's Uncle Jesse,
It's
which was
Uncle
iconic.
Jesse, kids. It's Stamos playing Papa Roach. And at
Yep.
first somebody sent it to me and I'm like, what is this? And he just stayed in the pocket and he's like, yeah, let's do another take. Let's do another take. And at the end, I was like, damn, he did himself proud on this. I would love, it would be great if he came out to one of your shows. Like, that would
Oh
be
my
like
God.
just super fun. Would that be fun?
You know what? We will put the call out at some point, because it's like it just seems like something so natural and something so cool. I mean, we just did that. I mean, we just were in Vegas and we did a song with Carrie Underwood, dropped a while ago,
Yeah.
and I saw that she was in Vegas the same time, and I hit her up. I was like, "Yo, you want to pull up on our show?" Because she was doing her residency, and she's like, "Well, what time do you guys do the song and the show? Because I have a show that night." And I was like, "Well, we can move it later." And so we moved the song at the end of the show. She got done with her show, cleaned up right quick, jetted over to our show, pulled up, did Leave a Light On, and then I pulled her out again to do Last Resort with us, which was cool.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I
Yes.
mean, I loved that collab that you did with her. I just thought it was extra beautiful and just gave that song new life and a new perspective, having, a female vocalist. And I mean, it doesn't really get much better than her. And are you surprised too when you see like all of these pop stars or people you didn't know were big Papa Roach fans? Because
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I love that band. I love that band. I love that band.
yeah, it is. It blows me away when I find out like different celebrities are big fans and stuff like that. Back in the day, I heard Timberland, the producer, had shouted us out. He was like, "Oh man, I love that Pete Roach band. They're freaking sick," And I was just like, "Timberland likes us." And then I found out
I can
we were
see
doing,
that though, of
yeah,
course, because
he's got that groove.
you've got that rhythmic, he's a
Yeah,
rhythmic guy, he's a rhythmic producer, and you guys
yeah,
have had that amazing rhythmic style to everything that you do right
yeah.
in that pocket there. So I could see that.
at Black Eyed Peas. We found out they were fans. We did a
Will I
collaboration with.
Am, right? Is Will I Am's a fan, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it just trips me out. And so it's always an honor to know people from other genres dig what we do, because I listen to multi-genre music. That's just what I love. I love everything. Well, not everything, but I do love a broad. I see that Prince back there. I'm like, oh, stop playing, dude. Prince is the
Right. Well, I think when we were coming up as kids, that's the one thing that I don't want to sound like I'm old, but I feel like now, like when we were coming up as kids, we knew like what our parents were listening to and different styles. We were so lucky to be able to, you know, someone was talking to me in an event last night and they were saying, oh, I was telling my kids because they had their kid with them and what we did when we were kids. And I said, yeah, well, when I was a kid, we stayed in the woods and listened to Van Halen and drank beer nips. Like that's what we did as kids. And it was the greatest kid like teen lifestyle ever. But we listened to so many different genres of music, whether it was Van Halen or Sly and the Family Stone or Culture Club, or we just had a whole palette of different styles of music. And so I'm always inspired when I see people going beyond what I think they would be a fan of.
Absolutely. And I like the cross genre blending and bending of it and collaborating with people outside the genre. So that's something that I would like to continue to do in the future.
You have earned that, my friend, earned that. And when I listen to Infest now, it's as fresh as it was the first day that I played it on the radio. And I was like, who are these guys and what are they doing? So, congratulations on just a career that has been well served. And I think your best moments are ahead. That's crazy to say, right?
Preach, preach, girl.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, I'm definitely stoked about where we're at. And, coming off the Rise of the Roach tour, like I said earlier, was just like I had to pinch myself sometimes and just, is this really like this is really my life right now? Like this is blowing me away, and so it's just cool to take that next step up and be ready for it and own the moment. And
Yeah.
so I really look forward to the rest of this year and building on that.
And releasing music as you're inspired. I'm not going to ask you
Oh,
about
yeah.
a new album because it seems like a lot of bands now are like, you know what, we're going to do this. We're going to put out some songs here, put out some songs there. If it becomes an album, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So releasing as you're inspired. Obviously, you said you've got something in the can, maybe new video coming soon. So
We're
exciting
dropping new
stuff.
music this summer. I'm actually day after or tomorrow night. I'm flying back down to LA, getting back in the studio. We're finishing up 2 more songs, and so we just kind of been going and touring, and then coming home, chilling for a minute, and then let's get creative. And I think that type of rhythm we'll just constantly have new music. And to me, that's like what a cool experience it is.
You know it. Jacoby, always so amazing to spend some time with you. I thank you so much for taking a little time to hang out.
Thank you, Terry. I really appreciate you. Great to see you too.